As an American, I eat apple pie, play baseball under its blue skies. As an American, I travel this land and follow her roads wherever I can. From sea to shining sea, I've seen a lot, and none of it will be forgot. And when my country called, I gave my all as an American. I was born into freedom in a wonderful land of mountains and plains, rivers and lakes. Forever American is what I am. A past as rich as any can be. My father's worked hard to give this to me. I love this place I come from. To live another way I cannot foresee. As an American, I eat apple pie, play baseball under its blue skies. As an American, I travel this land and follow her roads wherever I can. From sea to shining sea, I've seen a lot, and none of it will be forgot. And when my country called, I gave my all as an American. As an American, I've been to the peaks of majestic mountains where the air is sweet. I've watched the eagle as it soars in beautiful skies that just can't be ignored. And by this country I'll always stand, for freedom and liberty for every man. When times are hard and things get rough, America always stands ready and rough. As an American, I eat apple pie, play baseball under its blue skies. As an American, I travel this land and follow her roads wherever I can. From sea to shining sea, I've seen a lot, and none of it.
Hi, welcome to Real News Live. How you guys doing tonight? Hi Tia, hi BK, hi Debbie, hi Rodney, hi Richard, hi Matt, hi Nana, hi Sarah, hi Karen, hi Faye, hi Billy. How you guys all doing tonight? A lot going on out there. Sorry I haven't been live. I wasn't feeling well, of course. PTSD and anxiety just not helping at all. God bless you guys for being here. We definitely thank you for that. Of course, we're still raising money for families in need, so we're at a goal. We're raised $110 so far to the $200 goal that we're looking to send out another hat. So donations, of course. Any donation of $5 or more gets you an entry into winning a signed hat. God bless you all for that. China, of course, sending not so subtle threats and exposing information that people should know about. I mean, by revealing Hunter's bank records, these threats to Joe Biden, of course, China's firing warning shots at the president. Chinese American banks supplied the Senate Republicans with, of course, records showing millions of dollars flowing from China's companies to Mr. Biden's son, Hunter Biden, and brother James Biden. I mean, the lawmakers that are spearheaded the investigation into the first family, this is showing the truth, the corruption. Of course, he's on a trip where media cannot be. He's not on a trip with media. He's on a 5-day hiatus. It's crazy. Of course, watching what's happening I mean, China voluntarily turning over bank records at the request of Ron Johnson, of course, the senator from Wisconsin, and Charlie Grassley, which is Ohio. Every other American bank denied the two Republicans' request for financial records. In my mind, the Chinese government is telling Joe Biden, we got the goods on you, buddy, and we're willing to dish them up. I mean, this is a whole crazy. Crazy, yeah. 5 days of shady dealings taking Hunter Biden with him. I mean, it's crazy. I didn't see the thing on Jessica Waters tonight, but I mean, this is one thing after another. Seeing this information coming forward, of course, the House Oversight and Accountability Committee requesting the information, and only a bank that's not even a U.S. bank cooperating. I mean, this is crazy. Absolutely crazy. Amongst that, the U.S. is spending another $5 billion of our tax dollars to increase new COVID vaccine speed of development. Now, COVID vaccines are not free anymore for American citizens. So how much are they going to cost us? That's the question. Because we're spending the money on the research, we're paying for these companies to do the research, and we're talking an average price between $20 or more a dose. And now they're looking at the new shot, the booster shot for COVID, could cost upwards of $130. That means you'll pay out of pocket $130 for a vaccine that the U.S. is spending our tax dollars to create. This is ridiculous. I mean, absolutely ridiculous watching this money go towards speeding the development of a vaccine. I mean, money going into this Project Next Gen, which of course was announced by the White House and the Human Health Services officials to better protect from coronavirus, includes one of the causes of COVID-19, is very problematic. To me, we're going to spend our tax dollars, literally our tax dollars, again on a vaccine, and then we're going to pay for that vaccine in order to use it. This makes absolutely no sense amongst the Hunter Biden shit. This is just another frivolous way of giving money to Mandora, which is the vaccine is going to expect it to cost $130 per shot. So we're going to give them the money to research it, so they're researching it for free. And then it's going to cost American citizens for the research costs that they had to put into it, because it costs so much. It's a joke at this point. It is a joke. I mean, watching these the price hikes and no longer free doses, it's ridiculous. I mean, it's a gambit at this point. I mean, the U.S. government already paid around $10 billion in the early of the pandemic to develop and purchase Mandora's COVID-19 vaccine as part of Operation Warp Speed. So far, any American that wanted the shot had to pay nothing out of pocket for it, and the federal government footed the bill. But now it's time for a switch to the next version of the vaccine that we're paying for once again. Individual patients will have to pay for their shot. The proposed price of $130 per dose is ridiculous. How is the CEO of the company thinking the taxpayers of the country who are responsible for making him and his colleagues incredibly rich by giving this money should be paying? And by thanking them, I mean, he's proposing to quadruple the price of the vaccine. It's ridiculous. It's untested or tested. This is a joke. Tax dollars went and developed the vaccine. And then they're going to charge taxpayers a ridiculous and exorbitant price for getting a booster of the vaccine. I mean, this is ridiculous. And patients that are already taking expensive drugs for cancer treatment or chronic conditions, facing hundreds of thousands of dollars in drug costs already, they're going to have to of course, pay this another $130 for a vaccine just to make sure they're safe. And this is where the problem lies. Our government is no longer for the people, as we see it over and over again, because nobody's stepping in and saying you can't do that. It's our money that paid for the research, but nobody's saying anything about it. Of course, Indiana residents are being evacuated after a large plastic fire is pumping toxic smoke out. Blaze near downtown Richmond, Indiana, is expected to last for several days. Once again, another random occurrence where American city centers are going to be polluted by these pollutants. I mean, these pollutants are not just going to stay in one area. This toxic smoke, of course, that's being pumped out from this fire, expected to last for days, is going to land pollutants all over the area. It's just seeing another space where you can't live, literally. Every time we turn around, it's another thing happening. From setting trains with hazardous chemicals on fire to actually going about issues like this. Well, now a plastic recycling plant burst into flames. Lots of people are going to die. Yeah, 1,800 head of cattle that are killed in fire. Yeah, nobody's talking about this. This is one thing after another. One thing after another. It is a joke. Nobody helps actual citizens anymore. And the thing is, these are happening closer and closer. And you have the toxicity that is coming from these thick black columns of smoke that are being burned up, the chemicals that are being burned off, and the plastics, of course. It's concerning. Likely to burn for days, these chemicals will settle around Richmond and around other major cities. No major injuries are reported yet, but about 2,000 of the city's 3,500 workers near the Ohio border were ordered to evacuate already. The evacuation zone is probably going to grow as, of course, this danger zone becomes bigger. Biggest risk is the unknown chemicals. Air quality tests, of course, by the EPA have not found toxic chemicals yet. But you know what? This is the same thing that happened with the train derailment. Train derailment happened. They said they didn't find any toxic chemicals. And then the EPA team started to get sick. And one thing after another, we've seen what happened in the last fire with the train derailment. These particles became stronger and stronger, and now they have to keep this place evacuated. This happens to a big place like Richmond with 35,000 people. 35,000 people. Because benzene and sterylene, of course, come down, which are hydrocarbons that are not easy to get rid of, and they're strong carcinogenics. I mean, short-term health risk just for exposure could include symptoms of dizziness, nausea, coughing, headache, and fatigue. Now, asthma, of course, definitely triggered by this. Long-term problems could include the risk of cancer. Somebody exposed to this at a high concentration for prolonged periods, meaning groundwater. Just because you have short-term exposure doesn't necessarily mean you will or won't get cancer. Your risk with duration and concentration, of course, can be the biggest thing. First responders are wearing full face respirators with air tanks, so their exposure will be a lot lower than citizens. I mean, we're having these issues, and our nation does not care. Literally does not care. And the leaked Pentagon documents paint a grim picture of Ukraine's air defense supplies. With may only last a month at this point. So we're looking at running out probably in April, mid-April, or late April. So it's crazy. Ukraine's S-300 air defense systems could run out of ammunition by, of course, as early as May 2nd. The country's air defense could be depleted by as late as May 23rd. I mean, the system that the S-300s are 98% of Ukraine's air defense capability. Should Ukraine lose the ability to threaten Russian aircraft encroaching on its territory, the conflict will quickly turn, not a question if it would. Currently, Russia maintains a fleet of some 485 fighter jets compared to Ukraine's 85. Air defenses go offline, Ukraine's lopsided numbers game, and the air would mean securing the skies over Ukraine troops would no longer be a possibility. I mean, the leaked documents pertain to wide range issues in the country, detailing an instance in which British spy plane nearly shot down by a Russian fighter jet off the coast of Crimea last week. Nobody's talking about that. America won't admit that we're getting in there and we're having problems securing our own information. Not only that, the hacking threat from Russia, China, all of the abroad are taking down servers easily, penetrating and getting private information off our government. It's crazy, though. NATO allies, of course, bordering Russia, are to meet with top U.S. weapon makers. Polish Prime Minister, of course, is embarking on a 3-day trip to U.S., including meetings with the Vice President Kamala Harris and a tour of U.S. weapons manufacturers, because the amount of weapons needed to take place right now is drastic. It's crazy what is happening. Thank you for that $1.26 you just donated, Shin. Thank you very much. We appreciate any donations. But this is crazy. Russia, of course, wants to set Europe ablaze amidst the destabilization of the entire global economy, which is coming. It's not a question if, but when. That's why Poland and France and Finland and Romania and Moldova and all the Baltic states are trying to get prepared. I mean, Ukraine uses air defense, guaranteed it'll be over quick. China, of course, experts warn war with the U.S. could break out very well before 2025. As, of course, China's military has been conducting drills in Taiwan following the president's visit to the U.S. Watching, of course, this happening, one thing after another. Anything could happen at any time. We have China engaging, of course, dangerous intercepts of the U.S. and other military in the region. Anything could happen. We have military that is not prepared to deal with the probable scenario at this point. Of course, we got, of course, leaked information that talked about war with China in 2025. Of course, Chinese military deploying 71 aircraft and 9 vessels around Taiwan. Sunday, of course, those strategies have kept going. China now expected to close the airspace around Taiwan. China not afraid to say what it's going to do. China's military said it's ready to fight. It's ready to take Taiwan. Chinese military declared Monday it was ready to fight after completing its 3 days of large-scale combat drills around Taiwan. The that simulated sealing off the island in response to Taiwan's president's trips to the U.S. last week. The combat and readiness patrols, of course, show that China's military was prepared. Can't say they're not. It's crazy. The theater troops are ready to fight at all times, and they can be ready at any time to resolve and smash any form of Taiwan independence. Directly quoted. I mean, this is crazy. What do we have to say or do about it? We can't do nothing at this point. And China is expected to close the airspace north of Taiwan from April 16th to the 18th. Of course, closure of the airspace, a lot of people are saying it's for launches or other things, but it's going to disrupt flights around the region. China and Taiwan's foreign minister did not immediately respond to any requests for comments at this point. 4 officials outside of China speaking on the condition of anonymity due to the sensitivity of the matter said the ban would disrupt Taiwan's Northern Flight Informational Region, or FIR. They are not aware of the reasons for the restrictions. I mean, this comes after rounds of China's several-day military drills around several Taiwan. I mean, this is an escalation that we're seeing right in front of us. It's not getting any worse. It's getting terrible. To be honest. All this, and now we find out North Korea and China have been fielding underwater drones, the strike vehicles, similar to the design of Russia's nuclear-armed underwater Poseidon drone, which is the tsunami drone. China's new extra-large underwater drone vehicle, showcased by its manufacturer, Chinese State Shipbuilding Company, back in February in Abu Dhabi. Of course, nobody thought it really worked. Now, of course, we know that the drone has 4 openings with 4 torpedo tubes on the vessel. It's heavily armed. It will be likely used for submarine attacks or ship-to-surface attacks, but the problem is now these drones are being placed with these torpedoes, of course, that we've been worried about all along. Place that. Thank you, Linda Taylor, for that donation. We definitely appreciate it. But watching this happen, it's day in and day out. It's getting worse every time we turn around. Literally, every time we turn around, it's getting worse. Crazy. Naval warfare specialists, of course, that are first disclosed the drone being saying they're actually ready. Torpedoes representing a significant leap in weapons technology for China. Arming these anonymous underwater vehicles with weapons that could require target identification, such as torpedoes, is problematic. We're going to see more Chinese ability to control the waters. China, of course, is not stepping down or backing down at any point. You know, they're announcing they're ready for war. War with the U.S. is already projected. It's not a question of when, if it's going to be a question of when. Of course, the White House is more perturbed at trying to stop Iran from getting a nuclear weapon, as the White House has talks with Saudi King or Crown Prince discussing Yemen and Iran. U.S. National Security Advisor, of course, Jake Sullivan, spoke with Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince on Tuesday, discussing Iran's and the steps at aiming at ending the war in Yemen. But the White House doesn't. Why are they even getting in the middle of this? I don't know. But the call comes after Beijing already recently brokered a deal to restore relations between Saudi Arabia and Iran, the top regional powers in the Middle East, a process the United States was left out of completely. were no involvement. Foreign Minister, of course, of Iran and Saudi Arabia met in Beijing last week after agreeing to their diplomatic rift after following years of hostility. Fueled conflict across the Middle East, of course, but Mr. Sullivan thinks he can get the Crown Prince to de-escalate stuff going on between Israel and everybody else. It is a joke at this point. Sullivan's main concern is trying to stop nuclear weapons from getting to Iran, but of course, we don't think that's going to be a possibility. Watching what's happening, it just gets more drastic, literally. Every time we turn around, it's something new happening somewhere. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy what we're having right now. God forbid if somebody realized what was actually happening and stood up, did the right thing for once, we might be in a better shape. Long before we get to this. The Feds here in the United States are projecting recession by the end of this year. Of course, it's going to cause a huge blow to Biden. But they're projecting a recession and not a depression still, which is crazy. Because we know what's happening. We know what's happening in the central bank. We know what's happening with the interest rates. We know what's happening with the slow domestic growth profits. We know what's happening with the Feds trying to fight against inflation. Of course, inflation may be down to 5%, 5% inflation this month. That's not any better. We're still increasing prices by 5%. Another month. It's going to be a depression. There's no toggle point at this. It's either you're all in or not at this point. Of course, the outlook is difficult to foretell with any confidence at this point. We could just keep inflation going at this point and just keep watching it go up. And go up and go up and go up. Financial systems weren't made to handle this much stress. The prolonged stress could make it even worse. Historically, recessions related to the financial market problems tend to be more severe and persistent than the average recession. But we're talking about something totally different here. We're talking about market, housing, cost, jobs, cash flow problems, all of these problems happening at once. The combined impact is going to be great. Of course, people have to be ready and prepared for that. And that's all we hope people can do at this point, because it is getting drastic out there. Let's be honest. Nothing's getting easier for people. Gas prices going up and expected to keep climbing at this point. Nobody knows when they'll slow down. Hoping eventually we get a break. Of course, many Americans are already taking the credit crunch hard enough by people taking massive amounts of credit card debt and loan debt they can't manage to pay off. The higher yielding credit card debt and the volume that it's coming in at is worrying. As people are paying up to 13% on basic bank loans. Basic bank loans, 13%. It's crazy. How are people ever going to survive at this point with these enormous costs coming through? That more, of course, this keeps coming one day after another. Everything we look at, it's getting worse. I'm sorry if you guys are getting kicked off of Facebook. I know Facebook's having massive trouble lately. Sorry for that, but definitely appreciate you guys all being here. I can't even sign into Facebook right now. My Facebook is down, showing on my computer. So, God bless you all. God bless America. Stay strong. Be prepared. I mean, we're projecting war by 2025 now, for sure, with China. And we're halfway through 2023. So that gives you a year and a half at most. God bless you all. God bless America. Stay strong. Be prepared. We don't know what's happening next. We don't know where it's going to come from. All we know is trouble is brewing all around us. Every time we turn around, it's something else happening somewhere else in the world. Having to face these facts that it's happening here in America along with everywhere else. God bless you all. God bless America. Be strong. And of course, if you can afford to donate, please do. We definitely appreciate that. We'll be back with you Friday night with more what's happening in the world around us. Till then, stay safe. Be ready. See you then. God bless you.